Thanks everyone for joining me. I'm April with the Travel Collective, and as always, I love to talk travel with travelers from around the world. And today I'm excited to have a conversation with Tess. She is interested in health and she went to the Galapagos, and so we have lots to chat about. So, welcome,
Yeah.
Tess. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you. Thank you, April. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on your show.
Yes, thank you. And I think Miami is a little cooler today than Las Vegas. Is-
It's warm, it's clear blue sky, probably in the 90s, but at least we can jump in the water.
Yes, yes, wonderful. So I noticed
Yeah,
in the pre-interview questions, you've been to the Galapagos. So tell
yeah.
me about the Galapagos Islands because I've never
Oh,
been, and it's a place I
well,
want to go. So
it's amazing. As you know, and Galapagos are in Ecuador, and these are the islands where you can get all the wildlife and so on. I have been wanting to go there for many years, so it was on my bucket list. And then it was 3 years ago.
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was 2021. So I actually got to go there, and because at that time travel was quite quick, tricky. It
Mm-hmm.
was we were still having the pandemic, and there were certain countries where you can go into, and Ecuador was one of them.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, and so I went there and I spent 10 days there. And first of all, I was on the cruise. It's not really a cruise as such as what you think of these big cruises. It was a mid-sized ship, and there were only 30 of us on board.
Oh, that's nice. 30 is about the right size. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. Normally it would accommodate about 48, but because it was because of what was happening, they limited the number of people that could be on the ship together. So there were 30 of us, and you spend a week there going to different islands. And you get on the Zodiac every day. You just go and see the wildlife, go and see different landscape. So I encountered all these giant turtles
Oh,
that you won't see
yeah.
anywhere else, and blue-footed boobies, this bird with blue feet.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and different types of iguanas. But they have Galapagos has marine iguanas. So these iguanas actually live in the water, and they are amazing. They're prehistoric looking. They're funny
Yeah.
little creatures, but they're all very friendly because they have not been harmed by humans. They're all protected. So they're friendly. They will walk by you. They even check you out.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that is so different than what we think of. Like a lot of wildlife, like you say, in the United States, they've been around people and we've harmed them. So the
Mm.
response to us is different. So that's an interesting angle that you presented.
Oh yeah, I would definitely recommend Galapagos to anybody. Um, I would go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
fabulous. What time of year did you go?
It was the end of February because you want to go when I prefer to go when it's warm, but not the rainy season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
yes,
important. So,
yeah,
what were some of the things that you did to stay healthy? Because obviously, when you're going that far, perhaps, is it,
mm,
I don't know if it's on a different time zone for some people, but traveling can be pretty stressful to our bodies. So, share a
yeah.
little bit about some of the things that you might do to stay healthy during a journey like that.
Oh, there. So you actually eating on board, so they prepare the meals for you. But beforehand, I would let them know what my dietary requirements would be. I don't eat red meat personally, so I let them know I would prefer fish or poultry at night. And I also prefer a low sodium diet, so I tell them not to put so much salt in my food, be mindful about that. And I wanted a lot of vegetables.
Yes. I think that is. I think that's super important to be to let people know whether, especially if you're in a group or traveling with others, if there's certain things that you need to find because it's out there. You just sometimes have to take that extra step.
Yeah, exactly. For example, I don't like salad dressing in my food, in my salads because they tend to overdo it, and I prefer that they give it to me, and so I can do it myself. I have more control over that way. But when I travel, and I suggest this to my clients, is to have some healthy snacks with them. If the country will allow you to travel in with those, if not, then try and see if you can get hold of those when you are there. So, such as nuts, I think they are good to have.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy nuts without, so unsalted raw nuts to, and nut butter. They sell this in single serving packets now that you can actually order from
Oh.
Amazon.
Oh, that's good. That's a great tip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's good, especially when you're going hiking or you're going out for the day. You want to have something in the bag with you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and of course, you want to have a water bottle so you can travel with that. Some of those things, I think, it's just pre-planning.
Right. And what about like long flights? Because sometimes long
Uh,
flights can be hard on people. They talk about, sometimes if you're sitting too long, these are all things
mm,
that we need to, they're challenges.
yeah, they are. I think you have to be mindful of your water intake. I would say that when you're on the flight, it's very dehydrating. So you really need to make sure you get enough water. So you're drinking water, throughout the flight. And I know, that means going to the bathroom, but that is good because it makes you move.
Right. Yes. And get out of your seat because sometimes if you
Yeah,
have a 10-hour, 12-hour flight,
yeah.
I mean, like when I flew to Egypt, it was a 12-hour flight. That's a
Oh,
very long time if you never get out of your seat.
oh, absolutely. And it's not good for you. It's not healthy. You need some movement. And yeah, so in that way, if you drink enough water, you're going to have to get out of your seat. So that's important. And alcohol can be dehydrating, so I would suggest not to have any if that could be helped. Especially I came across a study recently, actually, apparently with alcohol, especially on the flight, is really not very good for your blood pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want that to happen.
Right. I have seen some recent studies too about the effects of alcohol at altitude. It's
Yeah.
different. So,
Hmm.
for me, it's just, what, it's safer just no drinking on the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to find another way to fall asleep. I'm not going to have that glass of wine. It's just, yeah, it's not as healthy choice.
No, no, no. And even coffee would be the same because it's caffeine and you don't want to be kept awake. And again, caffeine is dehydrating as well.
Right. And sometimes the meals, same thing. I like the
Yeah.
idea that you have a finding out things that you can maybe pack in your bag to
Hmm.
have because sometimes those meals that they have to make, they're making a mass quantity of
Yeah.
meals and it can be
Yeah.
filled with sugars or salts or
Salt. Yeah,
things
tend to
that can
be very
really
salty.
bloat you up and stuff, which isn't healthy.
No. And some airlines actually allow you to pre-order your meals. And sometimes you can actually order, say, a low sodium
Oh,
meal
okay.
there. So, watch out for those.
Yeah, that's smart to go and
Yeah.
check if you're able to pick a different meal.
Yeah, exactly. Or have something with you, such as, avocados. They're good to have.
Yeah, that sounds great. What
Yeah.
are ways that when you get to your destination, you can work in some activity, because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
on a group trip and they have certain times. So how do you suggest to your clients to work in a little bit more activity?
Well, if you enjoy being at the gym, actually on my website, I even compiled a list of gyms in different cities.
Oh, nice. Oh, that
Yeah,
sounds great.
yeah, with day passes. So you can go in and purchase a day pass. For example, I was in Rome and you can do that, and the gym there was really nice. I actually was in Vegas one time and I went to a gym there. So that, a lot of cities, main cities, they do that, and some other ones might not be so easy. But always, you can always do some research beforehand so you know where to go to, and maybe you can send them an email so that way you've had that in prepared. But I would suggest, if you can't go to a gym and sometimes your schedule doesn't permit that
Yeah.
you have tour, then make sure get some walking in, or hiking, or go for a swim. And I would say, instead of using these escalators, use the stairs.
Yes. No, it is so true. Even in Vegas, a lot of places have the escalators, but the
Mm,
staircase is right there and it's not as
yeah,
crowded. And I'm like, You know what? There's another chance to get some more exercise. Just make myself use the stairs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, every movement counts. Yeah,
Yeah,
we can. We just, we have to look for opportunities where we can just move more.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Because it's easy when you're traveling. You know, you're doing other things. You get distracted, but at the same time, you also might be having bigger meals too,
Yes.
because you want to try different types of food.
Right. Or you might be having, your body ends up like on a different clock. Like at home, you
Yeah,
kind of get on a schedule of when you like to
yeah.
eat. But when you travel and you're with a group, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of have to eat when they're serving. And sometimes it's not the same time.
No, no, yeah, and also your sleep might be disrupted too, because you're dealing with jet lag. And as you said, some places, for example, in Europe, as you know, people eat a lot later at night.
Yes. Especially Spain. Oh my goodness. When I was in Spain, some restaurants actually close and don't reopen again until 7 or 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
I'm an early person. I eat early. I try to eat my
uh-huh,
larger meal earlier. So I was
I
like,
see.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you have to, bear those things in mind.
So tell us a little bit. I know we also talked a bit before we got on the call. Finding travel friends. I think this is
Oh, yeah.
the challenge. I was recently on a trip, and it's like people that you meet that maybe your friends or acquaintances in your day-to-day life, you're like, oh, let's go on a trip, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it can be great, and
Yeah.
sometimes there's challenges. It doesn't work out so good.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes, with the friends, when you see them only for a few hours at a time, you don't know what it's going to be like when you're actually with them every day.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or to share a room. Sometimes I think, we as we get older, I think we get a little more set in what's comfortable and
mm,
what we need and what we don't need. Like I don't like to have a TV in my room at night. But if
yeah,
you end up with a friend who that's how they go to sleep,
yeah,
now you've already got a problem
yeah,
potentially.
yeah, I know. But I think it's important to have open communication beforehand so that each person knows what the expectations are. And also, I find that, when I'm traveling with my friends, I'm pretty independent. So I feel that, yes, we are on a trip together, but we don't have to be together for every activity. So if you enjoy doing certain things, and I don't necessarily, for example, with museums, some people
Yes.
really love them.
Right.
I'm happy with just one or two. I'm a coffee shop person, so I like to hang out at a coffee shop.
Yeah, that's
You know,
me.
So if I'm with someone who's crazy about museums, I would just say, look, go and do all the museums, and then, but we will get together for lunch or dinner, and then you
Right.
can tell me all about them.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think, before the trip, I think you have to make that clear to
Yes.
the other person, because some people will say, well, but we're traveling together. Aren't we supposed to do everything together?
Yeah, I think you're right. That open communication before the trip is best because once you're on the trip, that's when it
Yeah.
can get challenging. You're both in a new spot, and so I think our emotions too can be a little affected because we're not maybe sleeping as good, we're not
Yeah.
eating as good, so things can get kind of blown out of proportion sometimes when a simple conversation ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I have pretty set meal times, not set, but I eat three
Right.
times a day. So I like to have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I don't wait till I'm completely starving before I eat. So around 12, 1 o'clock, I would say, well, it's lunchtime. I will just eat, regardless of whether I'm really hungry, because it's
Mm-hmm.
been hours since I ate. And I feel that it's best to have lunch, then I get that out of the way, and I can concentrate and do other things. But that's me, I do understand not everyone feels that way, but I would let my travel companion know that beforehand. But usually you kind of know when it comes to habits like that, because if you go out with them, you know how
Right.
important food is
Yes.
to that person. Whereas some people, they're quite happy just to grab a snack here and throughout the day here, there. They don't necessarily think, oh, it's lunch now, it's dinner, it's breakfast. So
Right.
you kind of get that sense of how that person operates.
Right. Do you like
Yeah.
to travel in groups or do you solo travel? What would you consider your travel style, Tess?
I've done both, and they've
Oh,
brought
okay.
me a lot, both actually to me work depending on where you go to. With solo traveling, I find as a woman, there's certain places that, sometimes may not be so good to travel by yourself. And
Right.
so what I've done, I might join a group, a small group. For example, when I went to Morocco, I joined Butterfield and Robertson, and it's a competitor of Backroads. I don't
Oh,
know if you've
wow.
heard of Backroads. So
Yes.
it's an active trip. So it was a cycling trip, a
Oh my
biking trip.
goodness. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there was fun. There were 16 of us, and there were few solo travelers, both males and females, and there were couples. There was even a family there. But of course, you have the guide, so so everything's taken care of. And in a country like that, where you don't speak the language, it's not so tricky, and different religion, different
Yes.
culture, so everything was organized, and I had great fun.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad
Yeah,
that trip went well. Yeah, and I think that doing your research too
yeah,
on knowing what kind of travel you like you said, you liked the activeness of the travel versus,
yeah.
there's so many choices now out there to find something that aligns with your personality as far as travel.
Exactly. When I went to Galapagos, I was also on my own, but I
Oh,
had,
were you?
because it was a cruise that, the small cruise. So every day you are put in a group together. So there were only six of us in each group
Oh,
because of
nice.
the activities. So yeah, so it was great. And then I spent the next 4 or 5 days on land by myself, but it was fine because it's, relatively safe. And you in a way if you feel quite, it's empowering, to
Right.
travel on your own, and you're on your own schedule, you do whatever you want, and you get to meet the locals as well.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes when you're completely by yourself, you're more open, or locals are more open to conversing with you because they see that you're by yourself, whereas if
Yeah,
you're already paired up, sometimes the person in the restaurant isn't going to be as apt to start a conversation with you.
yeah. Have you done much solo traveling yourself?
No, not a lot. A lot of
Yeah,
times I go and maybe join a group where I don't know all the
yeah,
other people, but
yes,
I do think it is empowering because once you do even a day by yourself and you like go out and kind
yeah.
of do your own plan, you're like, I can do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's great fun. Absolutely. Yes. And some places I would go in very often, even if I'm just doing it on my own, solo traveling, you can have day trips, with a guide. I think that's
Yes.
a good way to do that too. So there are websites you can book a local guide, and they just take you out for half a day or full day, take you around. So that way, you're not just on your own navigating, your
Right.
way around.
Right. I think those are
Yeah.
really good too because a lot of times those are locals, like
Mm-hmm.
tours by locals, city unscripted. So then you also meet a local person that can, share like places to get a great coffee or find a meal or
Yes.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's an
exactly.
excellent idea.
Yeah, yeah, no, very good. Yes, because sometimes you feel, you feel, oh, you can do your own research because a lot of things are on the internet now, so you can get a lot of information. But if the language is an issue, it's easy having a local guide with you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because some places the language is a challenge, or even the writing, of how it's just difficult to navigate. And not,
Hmm.
I've been in some of the smaller communities where, you may get lost and your phone app isn't working. So, then I'm looking for like, okay, where would the younger workers be that would know English,
Yeah. I actually have a good suggestion for that. Google Translate.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because I've used that quite a few times. So uh, you can just type it in, and it will speak to you, or you can show it to the person.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have certain dietary requirements, so I find in a restaurant it's easier using the Google Translate.
Oh, that right, because they may not have the same word for something like no dairy, no,
Yeah,
right, low salt. Yeah, that's excellent idea.
yeah. That's something I actually suggest to my clients to use too.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. So
Yeah.
where is next on your travel wish list, Tess?
Wish list. Well,
Because it
I would,
sounds like you've been to so many amazing places.
yeah, there's some places I would love to go, but at the moment I'm not sure. I would like to go to Egypt.
Oh, really?
Oh yes, yeah. How long ago were you there?
I was just there last November, so less than a year ago, and I went
Uh-huh.
with the woman is American, but her husband is Egyptian born, and
Oh.
he's Egyptian trained in archaeology and Egyptian history. So it
Mm-hmm.
was really good to go with them, and
Yeah.
because he again he knew the language, he could talk to the guide. So yeah, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
All right. Excellent. Yeah. How long were you there?
We were there like 10 days, I think, and
Uh-huh.
we did a short Nile cruise, which I highly
Oh
recommend.
yeah.
We went
Uh-huh.
to Aswan, we went to Luxor, and I would definitely go back to Alexandria because
Mm-hmm.
Alexandria is on the Mediterranean, and I'd never been to any cities on the Mediterranean, and it was so beautiful. And the
Oh,
fish, as you mentioned, I love to eat fish too, is so
yes.
fresh there. So,
Uh-huh. Yeah. The other place I would like to go to as well, which is not far from Egypt, is Israel. I haven't been yet.
oh, yeah, I haven't been to Israel at all yet either.
Yeah, yeah. So I would love. I did Jordan a couple of years, again about 3 years ago, and that was amazing.
Oh, wow. What did you go with a group to Jordan?
No, I went with a friend of mine, and so there were just two of us, but we had guides. We had local guides with us, and we went to Petra, Wadi Rum. The desert there was amazing. The
Oh,
food was delicious.
oh,
It,
really?
yeah, so it was one of my best trips, and I again, it's like Galapagos. I would go back and anytime.
That sounds amazing. So where did you fly into in Jordan? Is it
It was the capital, Amman.
okay?
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I was actually in London, so it was easy for me because that only took about 4 hours.
Oh, that's a smart idea though. Like kind of break up the trip, like go to London for a few days, see
Yes.
see maybe a few things and then fly on so that you don't have that super long flight
Yeah,
to deal with.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it was incredible and yeah, culturally so different too.
So Tess, I know you work with health and clients and share a little bit about your website and what you do as far as working with us to stay healthy.
Yeah. So I help people, take charge of their health by building healthy habits. So very often people have health challenges, especially with their busy lives. And with my clients, a lot of them are executives, so they're on the road a lot. They're
Oh,
traveling,
yeah.
all over the place. Different continents. And at the same time, even when they're in the country, they're taking their clients out a lot. They might be having dinners or they are networking in conferences. So I help them, come up with some strategies where they can manage, their lifestyle. Because very often you can get distracted because it's easy when you're home to eat healthily, to make sure you have a routine. So as you
Right.
said, you can exercise, but it's when you are out of your home what you do that actually is important.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think our body comes under more stress, just naturally, because when you travel, you're in a new environment, new place. And so all that habit kind of gets thrown out as such.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and these days also a lot of people under stress, so I try to make sure that, remind them that sleep is very important. Then they need to prioritize it. And when it comes to health, every day matters. This every day is a day where you can do something good for your body, regardless of what you are. Because your body is not going to say, "Oh, okay, I'm in park today, so I can take a break."
Yes.
You know, it still has to do all the work to keep you going.
Yes, it does. I know.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
about that too when it's so hot. I mean, I love to walk outside, but now that it's
Hmm.
so hot, it's like, okay, I have to find other places to walk or exercise and make it a goal, an effort,
Yeah.
because otherwise, you miss a few days of walking, your body pays for it. You're just not, every day is
Yes.
important.
Oh yeah, exactly. And a lot of my clients sometimes, find that they're sitting a lot, in front of conference calls or computers, and they need to remind themselves to have breaks and to move.
Yes.
Yeah, because health is really the most important asset.
Oh, agreed. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
something you can't buy back, time or years.
no,
So
no.
taking care of what we have to me is just the best way. I mean, I'd rather, as I tell people, I'd rather put healthy things in, and I don't want to do the medicines. I don't want to be at
Yeah.
the I don't want to be at the doctor's office. I don't want to trust someone else to fix something. It may not, some people, it's like they years and years of damage, and all it takes is one heart attack, one fall, and
Hmm.
that's it. So,
Yeah, but those things, have an accumulative effect, what you do for your health or what you don't do for your health. So when someone has, for example, has heart attack, it didn't happen overnight.
yeah,
It started, things started going on years ago. It just gets to a point where the body just can't take it anymore.
right.
Yeah, so that's why every day matters, and it's never too late to start getting healthy and to start building good habits.
Right, exactly. And finding what works, because certain people, I think, if not everybody likes to say go running. So if you don't like
Yeah.
to run, find something else that you enjoy so you
Mm-hmm.
can make it a part of your life easier and not feel like, "Oh, I don't want to go do this."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Find out what works. That's really important. Whether it's nutrition, as you said, stress management or social engagement and exercise, you have to find something that works for you. Absolutely. And also we are travelers, so we want to travel. We need to be in good health to travel.
Yes. Oh, definitely. I think about that every day I go through an airport. If you're not in good health, a lot of these
Oh,
airports are massive. You're not
mm,
going to navigate it very easily. You want to go to Europe or these other countries. I noticed you mentioned you went on a safari or something once. You need
I
to,
did, yes,
yeah, you
Africa,
got to be
yeah.
in good health. You can't, somebody's not going to help you through all those things.
No, 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 exactly. Yeah, it's important to stay healthy so we can continue, traveling. I mean, traveling is really my biggest passion.
Yeah, it is
And
for me too. And I think
yeah,
it widens our perspective. We meet people that are in different places. I think it's important to see how other people live. If you've always lived in the United States and don't go to these other places, you don't realize for other people they are happier in some ways with less.
mm,
I
yeah,
think that's what I took away most from Egypt is these little
hmm,
villages and these people that were so happy. The kids were playing outside.
yes,
That the outside of the house is we would look at it and go, that's not so nice. But
yeah,
they have a more fulfilled life, I think.
yes, they do. Yes, they're looking at it with a very different perspective, as you said.
So I do agree. Travel is very healthy. It's something we need to be healthy for.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Because a few years ago, I developed a frozen shoulder, and it
Oh,
was awful. And it was the first time in my life when I actually had to put travels on hold because my arm just wouldn't move, and I just thought there's no way I'm going to, I was in pain too, and there's no way I'm going to be going on a flight, dealing with luggage, and it's just no
no,
fun.
no.
Yeah, yeah. So mobility is very important, so we really have to stay active, stay mentally, intact.
Yes. And challenge, I think challenging ourselves too, because it's
Yeah.
easy sometimes with all the technology to rely on it for our
Mm,
entertainment or our
mm,
socialization, but we often need to learn to turn it off, just go out, walk in nature. I often think you can get really stressed and feel like you're on this hamster wheel of like,
Yeah,
I got to keep going and busy, busy and looking at everyone else, but that may not work for you. You got to
yeah,
find what, like for me, I need to just go sit outside and listen to the birds each morning and,
yeah.
get some like time outside where I just not on my devices, just, listen to nature and my body and see what I feels like I
Mm-hmm.
need.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Yeah, it's good to actually, to be in nature and to have sunshine is nice.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And meditation is very important too if one, gets into it.
And I think yoga too is something that it's been around for a while and other
Mm-hmm.
cultures have had it incorporated it into their health practices for centuries. I mean, centuries and centuries, but it's something that even as we age, the stretching, the movement is
Oh,
something
yeah.
that's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Especially these days, as we were talking about, we're sitting a lot.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
know, like, I have a friend who she's 98, I think, but she's always had a garden. So, like, I tell
Oh,
her
yeah.
all that stretching and bending,
Yeah.
she doesn't have to go to a yoga class. She's already doing it in her yard, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And besides, she's doing what she loves.
Right.
So, that helps a lot.
Yeah, super
Seeing
important.
all these plants growing, and it's all, it's all her invention.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this has
Yeah.
been such fun, Tess, talking travel. And I love
Yeah.
that you're a coffee lover too. So hopefully we'll connect sometime in person. But tell
Yes.
everyone what your website is and
Mm-hmm.
how they can reach out to you and if they want to work with you to develop a healthier lifestyle, how to find you.
Oh, yes. So my website is www.glowwithtess.com. So it's spelled GLOWITHTESS. So it's as in glow with Tess, but with just one W. So from there, you can find a contact sheet. You can fill your details, and then we can arrange to have a conversation if you want some support. I would suggest subscribing to my newsletter, and you can find the sign up on my website as well, because every month I do a newsletter with
Yeah.
different health tips. Last month it was the Alzheimer's and Brain Health Awareness Month. So my newsletter was on that and gave my the subscribers some tips on what they can do to improve their brain health.
Oh, I love that. Getting tips each month. I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah. And this month it'll be on a different topic. So then that will be coming out next week.
Oh, great. So if people
Yeah,
sign up, they can get all the tips.
yeah,
So
exactly.
thank you so much, Tess, and stay healthy. And I'll be excited
Yes,
to
you
hear
too.
about your upcoming travels on another episode. So take care.
Thank you. Yeah, you take care too. Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.